Really, we've been a foundation. We are based in Harare, Zimbabwe. We are not yet decentralized. We are centralized. And we work we've got 32 African countries who are members of the foundation at the moment. But we do provide, we do have projects, programs running in 42 sub-Saharan African countries. And there are certain core competence areas in which we've been providing funding in the last 20 years. And one of the core competence areas is really in the public financial management area, in which we work with the government institutions in the public sector, civil society, and to a low extent in the private sector as well. Yes, there are certain cross-cutting issues which go across all the African countries because it's really the issue of governance. And we're talking about governance either from a financial perspective and governance from a political perspective. And the point is that that's where now one has got now to really get away from maybe the traditional approach of looking at the two, financial governance and political governance, as being separate, but to look at the two as really integrated. And I think that's an integrated approach in terms of looking at these governance issues. That's possibly the best way that we have to go into. Yes, I think when one looks at it from that perspective, one would see that there's been a lot of progress that has been made. But yes, there are still challenges. But the biggest progress that has been made, it's like we're saying, it's really the issue about governance, the issue about accountability, right? But yes, there are challenges where one has got to look at issues about corruption, and that has still got to be addressed and tackled. But when one tracks the trend over the years, one sees that Africa is really making a lot of progress in terms of its issues about transparency, about maybe the public sector really being involved and really being wanting to see Africa develop, wanting to see Africa taking its rightful position in terms of the development agenda. That's exactly one of the big challenges that we have, mainly when we look at the capacity in the financial management sector. What we find is that because of the lack of general capacity in the financial management sector, then when you go into the public sector, I think that challenge is even more amplified. Now, this is where now we have got to work together with the other institutions, like, for example, CIPFA, to see how we can really push forward this agenda of specific public sector accounting. Because when I look at it, public sector accounting, in its own way, it's a lot more challenging than when you look at a private or for-profit sector accounting. So to me, the work that CIPFA is doing, really there has to be a real collaborative approach to make sure that from an Africa perspective, there's that cohesion, and then so that we can take this agenda much faster. When one now starts looking at the whole governance reforms, one cannot look at the financial reforms as isolated from the political reforms. I think the two have got to be integrated. And because when one looks at, for example, on the political reforms, it's really having the public sector, the inclusiveness, having the public, getting the public, having the buy-in, having the oversight, okay, and accepting that oversight role that maybe the internal audit departments play, external audit departments play. And when one looks at the two, the financial management reforms and the political reforms, when one looks at the two as an integrated approach, I think then we are going to move a lot faster in terms of achieving, addressing the specific issue that we've been talking about.